Welcome to Art's Place, conservative talk from a different view, from the Casablanca studio in Golden, Colorado. Hosted by Art Carlson. At 4'6", liberals fear him, and conservatives love him. He's definitely a giant among men. Now here's your host, Art Carlson.
Yeah, welcome to Art's Place Conservative Talk from a different view. So we've got a great show today. Today we're going to talk about the new jobs numbers and what they mean. And later on we're going to talk about universal health care, why it's a bad idea. We had a little bit of discussion about this on my drone channel, but luckily I was able to say, hey guys, let's save it for tomorrow's show. So we got a lot to talk about and some other hot topics that have been happening this week. So let's get this show going. Let's bring up my co-host all the way from Muskogee, Oklahoma. Let's welcome Mr. Lloyd Mendenhall. Welcome.
How you doing, Art? How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. I finally figured out how to get the music working. It was weird. My settings got all changed in StreamYard.
Yep, that'll do it. Yep. Depending on, if you go into somebody else's channel and use StreamYard and you have it set up different, or if you're not using vMix and then go into StreamYard, I've had that happen. So I always try and go through and make sure I have my virtual cable set up.
Yeah, because before the show, I got in and I'm like, why is the screen black? And then I checked my settings and I go, so I plugged that and then my background here finally showed up. And then when I played the music, Chris Wedgeworth was the one that told me there's no music. I'm like, what the? So after I fiddled around with vMix, found out it wasn't there, and back to StreamYard, and the settings was changed. So I changed it to virtual.
Like it was. The virtual audio cable,
And it worked.
Yeah, I've gone
and
back.
You know how I could tell when I get the live feed on YouTube, right? If I could hear the music playing with the music on StreamYards, then I know, it's working. So I muted that and came back here. Hey, let's bring up our other co-host, all the way from Syracuse, New York. Let's welcome Mike Roach. Welcome, Mike. Good to see you.
Good afternoon, and good to see you.
And good seeing you.
Lloyd, I just want you to know I might not be able to do the show much longer because I just happen to have the winning ticket right here from Powerball.
Oh, well,
so I may be in the Caribbean,
Hey, you can do it from the Caribbean, You can,
I have my own cable system.
Yeah, there you go. Buy the cable company out there down there at one of those islands and just, you'd have a real professional show compared to this stuff we do. Yeah.
Right. I hear Epstein's Island is going cheap.
Yeah,
it's probably going real cheap right now. Yeah.
But good to see you both, and looking forward to discussing the topics and having a nice weekend. So hope you guys are as well.
Yeah, yesterday was really nice out, and today it's cooler because we got, I may not be able to do Mel's show tonight depending on what the weather is. He may not be doing his show tonight because they're talking tornadoes and, lions and tigers and bears. Oh my, the whole panjangle of stuff coming in because that cold front that's in Colorado is headed this direction. And then, when we were Friday, we were 93 degrees in October. Yeah. And then it's going to drop from there down into the 50s. Yeah, that's going to create a mess.
Yeah, we've got a cold front coming through later part of this week where we're going to have our first freeze
Yeah.
this week. So we'll be down the low 30s. But today we got down to the upper 30s. And I think we're going to be in the upper 60s today. So, hey, that's all for the weather here. And about in your area, Mike, go show us on the weather map. How's the weather up in your area? Do you have the Canadian high coming down with the Mexican low to
Well, old man
send us
winter is
some
not
thunder?
showing his face around here, Art, yet. But I can assure you that the long-term outlook has winter coming sometime soon. But today, today is actually not. It's 70 and partly sunny. I went
Nice.
flying on Friday at a state park. It was about 75, 76, and like
Nice.
partly sunny, beautiful day. Got some nice fall footage, and hope to go back one more time because all the colors are late here. So not a bad October going on here.
Alrighty.
Sorry,
So, yeah, so
I was just, somebody sent me a text and I had to see what it was.
And
I
also,
thought it might be me appropriate. So,
in case you guys may or may not have seen it, there was a heck of a football game yesterday from the Carrier Dome here. Wake Forest and Syracuse, and Syracuse lost in overtime.
wow.
boy.
To Wake Forest, a heck of a game though, and so I've got season tickets, but it was on ESPN too, so I stayed home.
Well, yeah, if you don't have to get out, I mean,
Yeah.
although live games are better though, but you know,
Yeah.
This year they've got mask mandates. You got to be vaccinated. I did get the shot, but I might go to Clemson when they come, and maybe
right,
three
yeah.
more games left. But hopefully next year would be normal.
Right.
Yeah, I hope it does. There, I think there's another wave of another variant supposed to be coming up from Central America that I saw. I don't know, something about it in the news here a couple of days ago.
Right.
Which
Yeah.
they're coming from Central America. They're into Mexico, then into the United States, and of course they don't have to have a shot. They don't have to wear the mask. They don't have to do anything.
Right.
Right.
That's what I'm actually reading a book right now by Victor Davis Hanson, the historian, and it's
Okay.
called The Dying
Yeah.
Citizen, and it talks very much about how citizenship comes with all these responsibilities, and
Right.
here these non-citizens are coming in without even a passport, with no papers at all, no education, might not speak the language, and they're getting almost as much benefit out of being here as U.S. citizens. And,
Yeah. In some cases, more than a lot of U.S. citizens get.
right. But
And they're future Democrats too.
right, they'll I'm sure they'll get to be able to vote. That's already happening in school boards, I believe, in some places. But it's insanity, and then also in my mailbox earlier, I get emails from the Epic Times, and there was something there. It might be misinformation from China, but something about them building another huge hospital tent city for future COVID preparedness. So
Oh
who
my.
knows? That might be trickery on their part or something. You
Yeah.
never know.
Yeah. I saw something.
I'm back.
I saw something today, and I didn't get a chance to follow through with it, but it was somebody. It was actually on Fox News, and they were talking about buying. I think they actually were mentioning buying drones from China is actually, detrimental to our national security, but I didn't watch it. I just saw it pop up, and then I switched over to something else before I got back to it. I'd lost it, so I'm gonna have to look it up again. But yeah, and that's we were talking about on Greg's show Friday night, No Limit Drones, and he was giving away licenses for that. And one of the things I asked, I said, does this? What it does is it makes them. It takes away the ability to send back to China. So you put this on your drone, and your drone's no longer, phoning home.
There you go.
And I said, well, wouldn't this be good for the government to use so that they could still use the DJI drones, but not have to worry about the stuff being sent back? And that's when they informed me that, yeah, they're already using it. So
okay.
They're starting, not in mass quantities, but they are starting to use. He's apparently sold a few setups or licenses to the U.S. government to use in some of their stuff, or law enforcement. Because what it does is it makes it a generic name. It's like instead of having an ID, it has, and yet it still everything works. But that's part of that coding that they put in there. So.
Yeah.
Well, when we're buying stuff, and I've said this for a long time, and hey, I own Chinese drones here. I own stuff that I own my FPV drone. All those parts were made in China, or most of those parts were.
Right.
We can't get around that, but and my argument would have been with this video. Well, the reason we're buying from China is because nobody else is making this stuff, at a rate that we can afford, and
right. Mm-hmm.
we quit making stuff here in the United States, and yet we want to, we bitch that it isn't American made. But America's not making it, That's what we, quit belly aching and start doing something about it. It's what we need to do.
Right. And hopefully
the unions, that's why everything's expensive. That's why all the manufacturing has gone offshore.
Right.
Hey, speaking of employment, let's talk about those job numbers. I guess the job numbers were disappointing. They were under 200,000. So,
right.
Let's see. I think they were expecting like 250,000 non-farm jobs, but it turned out to be 194,000 jobs for the month. Yeah. And also, it means unemployment has gone down, which is kind of counterintuitive. But the reason the unemployment numbers have gone down is because people are leaving the job market.
Yeah. Yeah.
There are older people that, when the corona hit, they probably said, why go back to work? I could retire. And they're getting out of the job market. Or you have nurses that have been burnt out and they decide, I'll be a stay-at-home mom.
And a lot of the medical people who have been suspended because they weren't willing to get without benefits either, without being able to get unemployment. So there's negative net negative in a sense for those, and now the trucking companies are talking about that. So it's pretty scary stuff, these mandates.
Yeah. I mean, it's well, the medical field in itself is being, they've been hammered so hard. I got a daughter-in-law who's an RN, and she's been, I think, going on 10 years now, but she said this last year just, it's really played havoc on her, and it's affecting her health. I mean, she just turned, I want to say 46. She might be 45. I can't remember now. I'd have to look, but she's already having an effect on her health. Just in the last year, she's had more health issues than she's ever had in the past, and it's most of it's stress related,
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's not. She called us up. I called to talk with her and ask her some questions. I sent her a text and she answered me back. When my friend's wife came down with COVID and was on a ventilator, and she soon passed away. And she told me then, she was in tears. She says, "We've got so many people that are coming in." I think the other day when I was over there, they had somebody like 6 years old on a ventilator.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
You know?
Yeah, but what kind of underlying health problems did that 6-year-old have?
None.
Right.
None.
That's the
Wow.
thing. A lot of these people that are getting hit now are they've been perfectly healthy. No, they got the Delta variant and they had not had the shot or anything. And yeah, they'd had 13, 14, 15-year-old kids on ventilators. And one guy was, I think he was 17. He was he was in track. He was a distance runner. He was physically fit, no drug use. Everything that you would expect. From a track star, and they lost him.
Yeah.
Wow.
No
Yeah.
underlying health issues. That's the problem with it now, and but it comes down to the fact that mandates or not, we've got. I think sometimes the cure might be worse than the disease. Because
Right.
we don't know what's in these. We don't know what is. I think sometimes the medicine they give them creates underlying issues. And
Yeah.
anyways, yeah, it's just it's getting ridiculous, and it's hard on the nurses in the medical field to be losing people like this.
Mm-hmm.
And it's devastating when a young person in their, from teenage years on up into their 20s, and no reason for them to be dead but this.
Yeah.
And
Right.
it's burning them out. And so thus
Mm-hmm.
we've got a shortage. We got people leaving, like you said, they're not wanting to, they're being forced to take the shots, and or lose their job, and they're just walking away. And so they're understaffed. And with that understaffing, that stretches out how many people can attend to a person. And then next thing you know, it's, it's,
Right.
it's
Right.
frustrating. It's frustrating. I think people should have that choice. I'm a
Right.
full supporter. Again, this is another one of those, whatever happened to my body, my choice. You don't hear those people talking anymore, do you?
Right.
Right. And that's what we were told, 5-6 months ago. It's
Yeah.
your choice, but get the shot and you're free to go, and live your life normal again. Well,
Yep.
that was only 5 months ago I got it. And all of a sudden it's now they're talking about a booster for the Johnson & Johnson shot
Right.
now. And
Mm-hmm.
the goalpost keeps moving. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to have a long talk with my doctor because he has not taken either of them. And
Yeah, and
Yeah.
here's the deal: the media is scaring people so much that people are kind of hesitant because the media has done so much damage to themselves that people are not believing what they're saying. Like
Right.
for example, here in Colorado, our governor is saying, "Oh my God, our ICUs are at 90%," and it's like, yeah, but if you go under 70%, those ICUs are going to lose money because
Yeah.
so what he's saying really doesn't make much sense because unless
Yeah.
it's over 100%, then you got to worry. But
What's really funny is when you look at what Joe Biden said 2 years ago, that there's no way he would take the shot because he didn't trust, if they came up with a vaccine, he wasn't taking that vaccine because, he just didn't trust Donald Trump but yet that same vaccine is being used now. It's like, now we're being pressured to take it. Really?
mhm.
Yeah.
Did you see what Drone Life RC put up there?
Yeah.
38-year-old woman last week or so died from the vaccine. She was pressured into getting it. Yeah, that's she didn't feel she had on, and that's the thing. They're shaming people into getting it, and this has divided our country worse. And well, and we got that idiot that is the head of the minority, the Senate minority leader.
McConnell?
Yeah, that guy, as far as I'm concerned, he can just pack his bags and go home because he's worthless, because he stood there and he sat there and he said for weeks, well, we're not going to pass this. They can pass it on their own. Let them pass it on their own. And then all of a sudden, like, yeah, well, I guess we could help raise that debt ceiling so we'll look better. Really? Come on.
Yeah.
And that's another thing. Joe Biden has ruined that whole, come on, man. Joe Biden has ruined that statement. We can't say that without sounding like an idiot now.
Come on, Lloyd.
Yeah, I know. That's right. You can't use that statement anymore because otherwise you sound like an idiot that's in the White House.
Yeah. And with the COVID cases, I mean, every death that we've had is a serious loss, whether it's someone 80 or a 5-year-old kid. But I think the younger ones are more outliers in terms of the numbers of those cases. Yeah. And I think about 9 out of 10 hospitalized kids right now, not all of them, obviously, but a common comorbidity is obesity amongst the hospitalized kids. And which, that's, remember before this, the obesity epidemic, it was a big talk. So coming home to roost in a lot of ways.
Yeah, we've had one epidemic after another, it seems like, for the last, bird flu, SARS. We've had some tragedy, but this one they seem to manage to grab it, and they finally got, the Democrats finally got what they wanted, something that would start destroying in a large number, and that they could hang it on the Republicans for causing it. Even though it wasn't true, they've managed to manipulate the press enough that, or the press managed to be manipulated enough that they were able to use this and they're destroying our country.
Right.
That's why the jobs numbers are they are, because they're people are. Why go to work? You got to take a shot. We'll stay at home.
And I think they know, especially with the feds controlled by leftists and blue states, extreme blue states like in New York and California, you're going to get some benefits for staying home. They'll bail you out somehow. So there's so many people. It's like, I'll just stay home and watch more daytime TV. And so, and if you're in the restaurant business, forget about it. You don't even know if you're going to be able to serve customers these days.
Yeah.
The McDonald's in my area, they're paying them $18 an hour. That's more than what I make an hour. I'm like, crap, I might as well quit my job and go work at McDonald's.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I could stand around that long. You got to be on your feet for that job.
I mean, it's hard work, but it wasn't meant to be. It never was meant to be a full-time career path. Exactly. Yeah, I mean, if you were let's say you wanted to be into owning your own restaurant at some point. You start out learning to be in the back. How to manage.
Bus boy.
Bus boy. Then you learn a little bit about cooking.
Dishwasher.
You learn a little bit about. Yeah, exactly. You got to understand breakage of. That's what that's good for, but it's not. Okay, I now own a McDonald's because I started working here when I was, 15 years old. So okay, but McDonald's is, when it comes to that type of stuff, they're a dime a dozen. But if you want to have a real restaurant, well, that's a good starting point, but it's not a stopping point, And if you're getting paid $18 an hour for flipping hamburgers, why the hell would you want to run your own restaurant? Because guaranteed, with you as the owner, you're not making $18 an hour because you're putting in a hell of a lot more hours than anybody else and not getting paid for a lot of those hours because
And if you think about it, now you know why people aren't going back to work. They're looking at, look at those hamburger flippers making more than I'm not going back to work. And so those companies, they're going to have to start raising their
prices.
wages.
Yeah.
And what's going to happen is they're going to start working with fewer and fewer people. And it's going to get to a point where their costs are going to be more than what they take in revenue, and they're just going to go out of business.
Right.
And I mean, it's not even skilled labor. My son, when he was, 13 years old, yeah, exactly. I saw that. He could use the microwave. What kid at 13 doesn't know how to use a microwave? Well, they're not hamburger flippers anymore. All they are is microwave. It's like they cook the McDonald's hamburgers the same way you fix your romaine soup. You put it in a cup, add water, stick it in there. Well, that's all they do. They take them out of the package. They have a special microwave, and I don't remember the last time. I don't know of very many places anymore that have fresh, at least in the fast food line, that have fresh hamburgers.
Right. Or it's automated. So much of it is automated these days.
Yeah. Even the ordering is becoming. They got these kiosks instead of having
in there.
talk to a live person. You just go up and go. Boop, 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 boop.
Yeah.
And here's your number.
There and Mike B. and Joan Life. Hello, guys.
Yeah. Welcome to the show. Art forgets.
Yeah, welcome to the show, Drone Life and Mike B.
Halfway through the show, and and we had to remind him, Mike, he's slipping. You're wore out from last night's show, though, I'm sure.
Yeah, my marathon show.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
It's like 2 weeks in a row that you've had those long shows. Because the one we do have to go 3 hours.
Yep.
God, I was wore out after that one.
And that's just one story for James.
Yeah. Yeah, last night was the old hippies woodworking show.
Yeah.
I went flying at a state park about 2.5 hours away on Friday, so I was kind of bushed yesterday. So I would have joined you, Art, but I did watch a bit though. And,
yep, I saw you in the chat there.
Yeah.
Thank you. Hey, I got 40 watchers last night, and that's the most I've ever had. Yeah.
You had a crowd last night, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And and you had a different variety of panel members last night than what you've had in the past.
Right.
Yep. Of course, bless his heart, you had Ed on there last night.
For a little while. And maybe it might be the drone giveaway announcement. That probably brought people in.
That could be it, but I'm going to be there that night, but I expect to win because I know you've got the filter fixed so it doesn't pick me. So you better, if you ever fix that thing so it quits not picking me, then I should win. Just logically, it should happen. The only time I've ever won a talk, you know how sad it was last night, Art? I was watching you give away Instrum's almond toffee, and I had gone to the store and picked up a bag of Halloween candy that were the Heath bars. I had to lure myself to eating Heath bars while you were giving away I know. That's just not right. The only time I ever got any of that was when Grant Smith won it. And of course, they weren't sending it across the sea, and he had you give it to me.
Well, now here's the new deal. Having dinner with Rick the other night, that now they're going to ship worldwide now. All I have to do is whoever the winner is, say, here you go, Rick. Here's the address.
I might have to order some of that on my
Doc.
own, because when I did win that one time, that stuff was crazy good.
Oh, that stuff is It's my favorite. I've always loved almond toffee. And when we moved to Grand Junction, and the first time I tried that, I think they gave it to my mom and dad. This is back in the days where they still had welcome wagon,
Right.
and they'd come by and they gave a variety pack of the stuff that was made in Grand Junction. And one of those boxes there was a small box of Instrum's almond toffee, and it's like that stuff. It's just, and my mother used to get it for me every year for Christmas. She'd buy a 2-pound box. She'd buy 2 or 3 of them sometimes.
Wow.
And one for herself, one for me, and one for, and she'd keep them in the freezer. And then they'd come over Christmas Eve. We'd open packages, and there would be my box of wrapped Instrum's chocolate. And now I'm going to have to order some for myself for Christmas.
Hello, Lon and Chris, Doc Murdoch. Good to see you.
Hey, guys.
Yep. And also, I brought home a bag of Instrum's toffee popcorn.
Oh, I'll bet that is good.
Yeah, I'm going to try some of that today. After the show.
I know this isn't my show, and I know it isn't your Saturday evening show, but you know something? You talking about that stuff right now, you're just a real ass. You're just cruel, Art. You're just cruel. Oh, speaking of cruel, and we're talking about politics, did you hear the new law that they've enacted that they're getting ready to enact in California?
About the toys?
Yes.
Yes.
All big stores now have to have a gender neutral toy section, and they can't have, they have to have a special section just for like toothbrushes that, you can't have the blue kids toothbrush and just the pink. Now you got to have a gender neutral section. Like baby wipes are going to have to be gender neutral. What the are you talking about, you idiots? Right. Yeah.
I don't see how that could hold up in court, but then again, who's going to fight it? Because, these companies just go along to get along.
Yeah.
And, instead of dealing with the court battles against the feds or the state government in California. And, they don't want
now it's going to be Walmart, Target, Costco, Sam's Club, places like that. Any place that has over 500 employees has to have this.
Right.
I saw that today, and I was just like,
glad to go along with the woke.
Oh yeah.
Stuff.
If you guys know who Ben Shapiro is?
Yes. Yeah.
He just came out with a book where he was talking about the new normal or the new something. He said, here's how you combat this. All right. Say you're home and your daughter decides, I'm a vegan. So the mother, shall I cook 2 different things? And or should I just make something vegan and the rest of the family will just have to get used to it? So his contention or his idea is, no, just ignore it.
That's it. Yeah.
Stop caving in to these ridiculous demands, and these people will stop doing it.
Yep.
Right.
Well, that's what we gotta start doing is saying these companies, hey, if you don't want to shop here, don't shop. You know what? I bet you the number of people that stop shopping there will be just minuscule. It won't matter a hill of beans.
No, right. Robert.
But in California, the state is mandating it, right? So
yes, it's a law now.
And the last thing they want is a court battle going into the Christmas shopping season. So they'll just put some section in or something. Customers might stay away.
Well said, Lon. When I see somebody digging their own grave, I hand them a better shovel.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's, I'm thinking, okay, So if I understand it, they got to have a section that's gender neutral. So that means we can't have, Playhouse Barbie or, Barbie in the pink dress. I can think of a lot of gals, like some of my granddaughters. They would love to have Barbie in camo with an AK-47 in her hand. Hey,
Right.
not a problem. That's gender neutral. That's as gender neutral as you can get.
Mm-hmm.
Put her in combat boots and camos and hand her an AK-47 or a an M4, with a bazooka on a Jeep.
Yeah. But the thing is, it's still a woman, according to the gender neutral people. So it's, it's a whole ridiculous concept even. It's like, what, define gender neutral. It really is hard to define when you come down to it.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't exist.
I loved listening to the Canada's Prime Minister trying to stumble over all those letters here last week. It's LGBTQRQ plus. I'm going, I guess the plus are for when somebody else jumps in, the two Qs, which is, I'm not too I was confused. Well, he was confused, and, and he's the one supposed to know what he's talking about. It's like, what the hell?
They ought to add a C in there for confused.
Yeah, well, that's it,
The thing about liberals are always talking about trust the science. And it's like, gender is gender. You can't, you could surgically change it, but you still have a male chromosome and female chromosome. There's no way you could change that. And that's science right there. You're either born a boy or you're born a girl.
Yep.
Although there are some that have both. Those are
that's a
hermaphrodites. Yeah.
People. The way the left has always worked, though, I've noticed this ever since I worked with some left people in my 20s, is that when you control the language and the conversation, then you can control the direction of the conversation. Here we are saying, gender. No, it's the sex of the kid, or adult. But you use the word gender, it softens it up. It's kind of like out of Orwell's 1984, where he who controls the past controls the future. He who controls the present controls the past. And it's I don't hope I didn't butcher that, but it is true. And if you can define the language and the terms, it's hard to argue with that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the tools in their arsenal.
Yep. Look at going back to Nazi Germany. Yeah, doublespeak. And where did they get that from? Goebbels was big on that. Keep repeating a lie over and over, and people will start to believe it. So every time I see something that's false on Facebook, I'll say, it doesn't matter how many times you lie, it doesn't make it true.
Yeah. Well, I'm telling you what, right now, the way things are going in this country, I'll tell you what, you know who I'm starting to miss? Bill Clinton. At least we knew what he was doing, and he was straight, Yep. He was a good, honest sex fiend, a dirty old man, he killed off his opponents, and, or his wife did, actually, but, his stuff, the stain on the blue dress is, that was more entertainment than anything else. He was an entertaining president. When it comes down to it, I hate to say it, but I'd take Bill Clinton back anytime over these idiots we got in charge now.
Right. And once the Republicans took the Congress back in '94, I think it was. He went along, and actually they got some things.
They got stuff accomplished.
They balanced the budget, and they got welfare reform.
Yeah, you notice that after they had that balanced budget and actually had a surplus at one point.
Yep.
But then when the Republicans took the White House and the Democrats took back control of the House, everything flip flopped, and they haven't had a balanced budget since.
Yep.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And the Republicans have been just as bad, really, in terms of
They
spending.
have been, yeah. They've been
Mm-hmm.
just as bad.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Every time the Democrats get in, what do? The first thing they do is yeah, that's right, Lon, contract with America. They cut the military. And they cut it so far back. I mean, look at what Jimmy Carter did. He cut the military so much that Reagan came in. And so it's this constant back and forth. When a Republican gets in and they see what's happening, they're going, holy crap, we're leaving ourselves open for an attack by our enemies. So we got to build up the military.
In the late 70s under...
I'll be right back.
Okay.
All right.
In the late 70s after... or while Jimmy Carter was in office, we had trouble, keeping our pilots certified because we didn't have the fuel. We didn't have the budget for the fuel. We didn't have the planes that could fly because the parts weren't coming in. And because he cut back so much Clinton cut. Don't get me wrong. I'm not a Clinton supporter in any way, but compared to what we've got now, I almost miss him, But yeah, it was so bad. We actually had to go out to, I was out at Davis Motham there in Tucson, Arizona.
Out
we
to
had
the
to go
boneyard.
out to the boneyard to cannibalize
planes,
to get them to fix, and it was just that bad.
And then under Obama, all the ships and the planes had to use green fuels. Which drives me crazy. Yep.
Yeah, it was just I don't know why, part of the problem we have with our military is, well, we've got a lot of problems with it now, but it's become so political. When I was in, it was apolitical. We could have our views and our understandings, vote for whoever the hell we want, but when we put on that uniform and went in, you kept your mouth shut and did what you were supposed to do. You didn't you didn't have any of this crap like they got now.
Yeah.
And
I remember those Jimmy Carter days where, remember, it was the black boxes for planes and tanks and things, basically pulling them out of other planes and, not even having spare parts. And
we didn't.
Yeah. And we're going to head back there again, and the cycle will happen again,
Yep. Mm-hmm. Hello, Ed. Good to see you.
Yeah.
Hey, Ed.
Yeah. So we've gotten way off topic today, but we have covered a lot.
Right.
We were talking about the jobs. What was next? What else did you?
What was next?
You're the boss. You're supposed to know this stuff.
Well, we talked about unemployment. Oh, universal health care. This was
Hang on.
touched on just a little bit with. Yes?
I got to go take care of Judy real quick. I'll be right back.
All right, I'll bump you out for a second.
All right.
Oh, wrong one. There we go.
Yeah.
Last night on my show, we touched on a little bit with Ed and with Chuck about universal health care. And Chuck seems to believe that we need it here. But he just got back from Scotland. And I asked him about the VAT tax. All of Europe has a VAT tax. That's how they pay for their universal coverage.
Right.
And the problem with that is they still don't have enough money to keep it going. So what it does is it cuts back on service.
Right. That's why you've got Canadians coming across the border here to get health care.
Yeah. And they've been doing that since the 70s. Yeah, I have a neighbor that his mom used to come over from Windsor and to get her teeth done, or whatever physical stuff that she needed done, because it would take too long in Canada.
And the thing is, with universal health care, name anything that the government does well, especially in these days. You used to be able to say the military was expensive, but it was done well. Well, that's not even being done well right now. Yeah. And to have your health care in the hands of the government, especially, like say you have private insurance now or whatever, your appeal, you could even appeal to the government. But if the healthcare provider is the government, who do you appeal to?
Yeah, that's right.
They set the rules. So, and I hear the wait times, and then what happens when talk about mandates. Well, you're not eligible for this because you haven't had your vaccine, or you haven't, or you smoke, so you can't have this treatment or whatever.
Or you're too old.
Right, exactly. You'll, death panels that we were talking about under Obama,
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
But
and Lloyd could tell you about dealing with the VA. I mean, if you wanted to talk about universal health care, the VA is the biggest example of my grandfather, back when I was younger, would tell my dad, they were both veterans, and my grandfather says, whatever you do, if you get sick, do not go to a VA, because those doctors were doctors that they were terrible doctors, and their malpractice insurance was sky high, and their only choice was to work at a military hospital.
Right.
And
yeah, and there are obviously some good people at VA hospitals.
Yeah, there's a lot of good people there, but their general overall, for a disabled veteran, for their spouses, if you're 100% service connected, your wife can get, or your wife and kids can get what's called Champ VA. And it's actually what the retired military got. The difference was it was called Champ US. Well, now the retired military got flipped over onto TRICARE, and it's like any. It's just not. It's now. I think, I don't know if Aetna owns TRICARE now or who owns it, but yeah, there's a lot of trainees at the VA hospital practicing medicine. That's where a lot of the interns go. Matter of fact, here, all the nursing staff, or any of the nursing schools here, they do a internship there at the VA hospital, as well as the other hospitals in the area. Their radiation department is got a lot of interns. I mean, it's a practicing hospital, and that's what they're doing. They're practicing medicine. That kind of bothers me. Yeah, why do they call it practicing medicine? With that many years of school, you'd think they'd have got it right by now, but they call it practicing medicine. But.
Yeah, and but the whole thing of turning that over to the government. I mean, then there'll be so much more control over our lives. What we'll be able to get privately, and at least now, if you're employed or if you can afford it, you can get insurance on your own. I mean, that's why car insurance is self-affordable, because government doesn't pay for it. Imagine if government was not in the health insurance business, the rates might be a heck of a lot lower.
Yeah, Lon brings up, thought all vets could use whatever doctor. That would be nice, but no, they can't. They're not going to pay for your outside doctor. I'm fortunate that I have a good good Medicare and health insurance through. I mean, it's not great, but it's better. And so I'm able to go to a civilian doctor, but I still go to the VA because I can get some meds through the VA for free, cheaper than I can. But if you're not at least 60% disabled, or you're not within they have a means testing there, you have to pay for your scripts. You have to pay a percentage. And if you've got insurance, they're going to bill your insurance,
Right.
You might have got it passed, but all that is, Lon, was if there's a doctor not available at the VA, then they will outsource it to an outside doctor. I carry this little card that says wherever I'm at, I can go to any doctor I want, but it has to be approved. I mean, it's if there's a VA facility closer than any doctor, then I have to go to the VA facility. That's what that come down to. That's what it was supposed to have been. We could choose the doctor we wanted, a civilian doctor, but they never did that because, one, they don't want to dismantle. If they dismantle, and I've said for years, they need to shut down the damn VA hospital, and give us an insurance, and but yeah, no, the problem is that the VA is an entity that has become self-aware. It's like Skynet. It's in charge, and they're not going to dismantle it.
Right.
There's too
The
much.
key phrase you use there, Lloyd, is anything from the government, it has to be approved.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
We cover all this, we cover that. Oh yeah, but it has to be approved.
I went up about 3 years ago now, 2 or 3. It's a couple of years ago. I had to have my right shoulder operated on. I knew I had the problem. My civilian doctor. I went to the VA and I said, this shoulder is hurting bad. I mean, I can't hardly lift it. I can't use it for anything. And the doctor says, "Oh, well, here's some ibuprofen, prescription strength ibuprofen. You just got a little arthritis."
Wow.
That kind of ticked me off. So I went to my civilian doctor.
Didn't Obama say that? Instead of a pacemaker, you give grandma a pill.
Yeah.
Oh, and here's the deal, Mike.
TRICARE
Say
is only
Lloyd
for the
and
retired.
Judy lived in Belgium. Judy would have been euthanized years ago.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's the sad part about it. And that's how they keep their costs down. If you get sick enough and you're old enough, it's like, sorry, nothing we can do.
Green.
Here's a pill.
Yeah, it's Soylent Green.
Europe is it is Soylent Green, but Europe is a beautiful place to visit and all that. But you can keep it. I have no Paris envy in terms of like wanting to emulate what they do over there, because like you said, you get into those weird little countries like Belgium with these euthanizing rules and stuff like that. And that's a talk about a slippery slope. That's a frightening one. So they just because Europe does it doesn't make it good. I don't care how pretty the castles are over there.
Right.
Yeah, you ask some kid on the street, what do you think about the euthanasia laws? And, those youth, they could vote for whoever they want.
Yeah. Universal health care is not the answer, not the way it's set up. And Canada, a few years back, they had some problems with theirs. My uncle was due to go in and have some heart surgery done. They put him on, he was on like a 6-month to 1 year waiting list. And it got to the point that these heart patients had been on the waiting list so long that the Canadian government healthcare minister of health, they sent out a general letter to all the families or they sent it to the last known address and said, if you first, we'd like to apologize for keeping you on the waiting list so long, or if your family member has already passed, you have our condolences.
Yeah. Excuse me one
You
second
know,
again. I'm sorry, guys.
that's all
All
right.
righty.
But yeah, I mean, that's it. It got so bad that the patients, a lot of them were dying off before they ever got into it. Now, TRICARE, Ed, is for the retired military.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, well, and that's the problem with that kind of thing. When you're really sick and you're doing badly, you sometimes just don't have the will to keep going. But it might be better in a day or two or in a week or two, and if the euthanasia laws were infected, sometimes people would do things that might not be in their best interest in the long run.
Right.
That's the other side of it, and
Uh-huh.
and of course they're going to, there's days Judy has that she just like, I'm just tired. I'm just tired of this. I wish this all quit. And then, like today, she's been up and walking around. That's why I had to go, because she'd walked in there to get her pop, and she came around and asked me to help her. So,
Right.
and that's a long walk down that hallway for her. But she walks. She's trying to, and it. She had last week. She had her CT scan for her 6 month follow up that they
Right.
do every 6 months, and yes, Friday evening or yesterday morning sometime, we got the reports back, and it looks like there's no significant change in it.
Oh,
So
right.
yeah,
Right.
we'll get all the finite details Thursday from the doctor, but which that was kind of a relief to her. Every 6 months we got to deal with this. As it come back. This puts it at 10 years now. So since she was
Awesome.
first that she's been in remission, and she's only had one time that would there for a couple of years that there was a question, and that was caused, the scar tissue in the spot on her lung was caused by the vaping.
Ah.
When she tried vaping, and
All right, let's switch gears a little bit. I just thought of something that we could talk about. Facebook has been in the news lately because of the congressional committee that's talking about the whistleblower, saying, look at all this stuff that Facebook has been doing, disinformation and all this stuff. And basically, what Facebook is trying to say, we need government control. We can't do it. We gotta have government tell us. And what the problem with that is, they're doing that because they don't want any competition. Because if government comes in and puts down these controls, it makes it too expensive for someone to come up with a better platform than Facebook. So that's why they're doing it, because they want to keep competition down.
Yeah.
What do you think,
And
Mike?
because they're also full of leftists that
Yep.
from top to bottom in those tech companies. And that so-called whistleblower, when I listened to what she had to say, I thought everything she's saying is an excuse for Facebook to exert more control over what we say on their platform, either by government, edict, or just more on their own. Oh, we'll do more to keep, extremist language off there. And next thing you know, I've got false information for putting up a Biden joke.
Yeah, I put up the same joke,
I've seen
and
that. I've
I'm
seen
like,
about
well,
three
what the
different
hell is that?
people, three or four different people this week in that
Yeah.
T-shirt. Yeah,
Yeah.
and every one of them's been blocked.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. So,
It's crazy.
and it's like,
And it was a freaking joke,
right.
man.
I mean, the last, I just wonder, like, that whistleblower, I don't mean to get conspiratorial, but it almost sounds like, Facebook could encourage someone to go out there and, say this, that, and the other. And, they get up there and when they get in front of Congress, they just give these long-winded, legalistic answers. Zuckerberg apparently doesn't know anything about his company, when he gets asked a question about it, or Dorsey. I don't know. It's like, I don't know what goes on in the company, and and the Senate and the Congress, half of these guys are 90 years old anyway. When it comes to tech stuff, they're really not savvy about how it works, how to rein it in. But I'd say let it be. As long as you're not threatening somebody or using foul language, you should be just have at it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I'll be honest with you. I'm surprised that this channel is still running on YouTube, but I noticed there's a lot of conservative stuff, and of course, maybe that's because that's all I follow, but it's not. But there's a lot of conservative people on YouTube that you're not seeing on Facebook and Twitter.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And they never fact check us.
Paul Joseph Watson, he's still on YouTube. I don't know if you know who he is. Real conservative European guy, and he's been banned here and there, but he's still up, and he doesn't hold back.
Mm-hmm.
So they play both sides of it too, because if they lose that audience, Facebook is the kind of the old people's platform anyway. You know what I mean? In terms of like, compared to the kids have moved on to other things. They're on TikTok and this, that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Instagram. Yep.
Yeah. And TikTok doesn't, it doesn't require much of an IQ to operate or to use, because, and it's for people with an attention span of a gnat. So,
right. I thought MySpace was for old people. Who remembers MySpace?
I do.
Yeah, I had one. And
oh my God, that thing was full of viruses. Like all that bling that those kids would put on there. My granddaughter was living with us for a short period of time, and she downloaded all that crap. And I ended up having to completely reformat the whole system, because, and I had some pretty good virus protection on, but she kept downloading this crap off of MySpace, and
boy,
she was also doing some stuff on there that I didn't approve of, and she thought she could keep me from getting in and keep it private. And I was able to hack her account, and I busted her on it. So but that's a different story. But yeah, MySpace, I remember it. It was like, didn't last that long though, really.
No, it just seems like Facebook came on the scene, and it was a better platform. It was easier to connect with your old high school friends, and I used to be connected to a lot of comedian friends of mine. Now I've got only a handful left,
right?
Because the rest of those guys, they hate me. Oh, that evil Art Carlson. Oh, he's a Republican.
You friggin' conservative.
And I keep telling him I am not a crook.
Well, I'm proud to say I never had a MySpace account, and because I know one of their problems was predators after young people.
Oh yeah, they were bad about that.
Yeah.
So. And believe it or not, I think I looked here a while back because this discussion came up, but MySpace still exists.
Yep, really? It does. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I can look up my stuff, but I just can't get into my old account because I forgot my password, and I can't figure out, okay, they want my email, and I gotta remember, wait a minute, I don't think that that email is active anymore.
Yeah, I think the email that I had back then, that was probably
was that Earthlink?
Yeah, well, it could have been Earthlink. Yeah, it could have been an Earthlink email. Yeah.
I had an Earthlink. Yep.
Yeah, I never had AOL.
This guy still has an AOL address.
Yeah, I did have an AOL because Southwestern Bell, who is now AT&T, Southwestern Bell, and then they went to Singular, and then they became, they went back to AT&T, which is what they all were to begin with. But so I had a Southwestern Bell and because that's who provided my phone, and that was when I got my DSL. Because cable wasn't fast or didn't have anything at the time.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, guys, we did over an hour, and
Yeah, we did.
So I want to thank you for being part of the show, and everybody in the chat. Thank you for coming to the show. We had, I think, 10 or 11 people.
Had a good crowd
and that's
today.
pretty good for this channel. We're only 18 away from 200 subscribers. Let's push that over 200. And I noticed on my other channel, I'm pretty close to 1460. So let's get that going. I like to hit 1500. That'd be awesome.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, thanks very much, Art, for having.
You're welcome. So, any last words, Mike?
No, I guess this week I did some drone flying and things like that. It was a busy, fast week for me, so I wasn't, knee deep in politics. This week, I probably paying a little more attention to what's going on and the bizarre world that we live in, and God knows what's coming down the pike in terms of going in, towards the holidays with new mandates, new waves of COVID. Who knows what's coming up? But I'm sure we're in for, an October surprise, a November surprise, and a December surprise.
Well, before you know it, it'll be another election season. We'll be upon it.
That'll be fun.
Any last words, Lloyd?
Yeah, don't start talking about the holiday seasons. It's still like the beginning of summer, isn't it? Didn't we just get through with New Year's like a week or two ago?
Right.
What the hell?
Fast year.
Yeah, I know. My God, it has been a fast year. Anyways, Art, thanks for having me on. It's always been a pleasure being on with you and with Mike. Mike, I always enjoy you. Lon, bite me.
Take care, everybody. Have a great weekend, and God bless you. Catch you next time.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
bye, guys.